All right, boys and girls, we're going to do lesson 104, back to our regular side A and side B lessons for today. Most of this, though, is going to be a review. You're going to see that I've been having you practice some of this on your own and a little bit of new knowledge that we'll go over. So let's start with number 1. The 4th grade classes at Haley School sold 1,250 large candy hearts for the school fundraiser. The hearts are going to be packaged in boxes of 6. So how many boxes of hearts will they need? All right, so this is going to be a division sentence, boys and girls. So we're going to take 1,250, the total of candy hearts, and I'm just going to write hearts in shortcut on that, divided by 6, because that's how many will go into the boxes. So, and then our final answer is how many boxes of hearts will they need. So let's go over here and let's just divide. As a matter of fact, let me divide on a piece of scrap paper. You may want scrap paper as well. All right, so put my 6 here, 1,250. Okay, so I know that the 6 is not going to go into the 1, so we can just move right on over, and we're going to say 12 divided by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. I want you to work your steps because the procedure and practice is very important. All right, 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bring my 5 straight down. All right, 5 divided by 6, and if we were all together, we would do our predator's chant and say we can't do that. We have to hold it with a 0. 0 times 6 is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. Then I'm going to bring this 0 all the way down. Okay? All right, can 6 go into 50? It can. How many times without going over? I believe that's going to be 8. And 6 times 8 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. So we have a remainder of 2, okay? So they need to order 208. Well, they would need 208, but since we've got that remainder of 2, they need to push it up and they need to order 209 boxes or they won't have quite enough. So they will need 209 boxes. Okay? All right, so number 2, boys and girls, is our new knowledge. First of all, what is our polygon? If you said quadrilateral, you were correct. I always have a hard time spelling quadrilateral. Okay. All right, so now let's read our directions. Measure each side of the polygon using inches. Label each side. What is the perimeter of the polygon? All right, so that's what's going to be new today. I'm pretty sure we did some of these in the first quarter, but it might be a little bit of a review. Let's go in the order that they told us to work. They said to measure each side of the polygon using inches. So I have my inch ruler out here. It's an old ruler. It's kind of special to me. You see why, don't you, Steve-O? Okay. All right. So I'm going to measure here, and it looks like we are at... Whoops, it would help if I got it on the right spot. There we go. 1 1/2 inch right here. So it's going to be the same on the bottom. Okay, go ahead and we'll measure our sides. And it looks like we're looking at 1 inch there. So I'm going to write 1 inch and 1 inch. Notice how I put my units on there. I labeled carefully so I know that I'm talking about inches. Now, for perimeter, boys and girls, we want to measure the distance around something. For example, if I wanted to know the perimeter of Lewis's cage, I don't want to know how much tile I would put on the floor of his cage. I would want to know how big his cage is all the way around. So to find perimeter, we take our measurements and we add them together. We don't multiply, we add. So I'm going to say 1/2 inch plus 1 inch plus 1 1/2 inch plus 1 inch equals, I think I called that 1/2 inch, but I meant 1 1/2. All right, so let's pull out our 1 1/2. If I have the mixed number 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2, we know that the 1 and the 1 will give us 2, and our 2 halves will give us another whole, which equals 3. Then 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So your answer will be 5 inches. The perimeter, there's our new word, of the quadrilateral is 5 inches. Okay, all right, number 3. All right, so number 3 is going to be fun because our denominators are the same. We're finding sums or differences, and we're going to simplify our answers. So you know, Miss Francis, I like to rewrite them. It just helps me think better. So I'm going to write it down here. Okay, so let's add our whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. And I could add that quickly because our denominators are the same. So let's let them slide on over. And we have 3 and 12/16. But I know that I can reduce that because I know that the 12 and the 16 are both divisible by 4. So let's divide those by 4 and see what we get. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So your final answer is 3 3/4. Okay? All right, so let's go to this one. Slide on over here. We have 2 3/4 plus 3 3/4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead with my whole numbers. 2 plus 3 is 5. All right, our denominator 4 is the same. So 3 plus 3 is 6/4. But ruh-roh, look what we have. We have an alarm. Stephen, you're hilarious. All right, we have, y'all, some of you ask me who took my videos. It's always Stephen if he's above my shoulder or something. So when you see Stephen, tell him thank you. All right, look what we have here, boys and girls. We have an improper fraction, so we need to get rid of that. Okay, so I can pull one group of 4 out of the 6. So that would be one whole. So that's going to make the 5 become a 6. And there would be 2 left. So now we're at 6 2/4, which we know that we can divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. And that's going to reduce to 6 1/2. Okay. All right, let's do another one. I love these. They're so fun. I wish we were doing them together, but we kind of sort of are. All right, so we've got 6 3/4 minus 2 1/2. Whoops, I was thinking ahead. See, my brain just goes faster than my mouth sometimes. Okay, so I want to turn this 2 into a 4. And the way I would do that would be to multiply. So if I multiplied 2 times 2 to get 4, then I have to multiply the 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we have converted and we are able to subtract. Okay? So 6 take away 2 is 4. And 3/4 minus 2/4 leaves me with 1/4. And it is in its simplest form. There's nothing else we can do to change that answer. Okay. All right, let's do this next one. 4 1/4. I think I can squeeze it right here, Steve-O. 4 1/4 plus 3 15/16 equals. Okay. All right, our denominators aren't the same, so we need to make a conversion. So I'm going to convert this 4 into a 16. I made the 4 a 16 by multiplying it times 4. So do the same thing to your numerator. 1 times 4 is 4. All right, your whole number stays the same. Now bring down the rest of your equation. Okay, it looks like we're going to have I think we're going to have an improper fraction again. Let's just add it up and see. All right, 3 plus 4 is 7. 15 plus 4 is 19/16. So we do, in fact, have an improper fraction. So we need to make this a mixed number. All right, so there's 1/16 in 19. So I'm going to pull that out. That will give me a whole group. Add that to the 7. We have 8. There were 3 left. So now we have 8 3/16. Now, I can't divide 16 by 3, so there's nothing more I can do to that. It is in its simplest form. So we're finished with that one. Those are fun. Okay, number 4, an elapsed time. All right, it was 8:15. It is 8:15 in the morning. So we know morning is AM. What was it 1½ hours ago? So in other words, what time was it 1½ hours before 8:15? Okay, so let's chunk our 1 hour. Whoop. All right, so now we're at 7:15 a.m., but now we've got to pull out this 30 more minutes. Okay, so let's take this 15 minutes away, and now it's 7 a.m., and we need to go 15 minutes before that, so that would be 6:45 a.m. So the time 1½ hours ago, I'm writing so messy, 45 a.m. Okay, all right, number 5. Okay, fill in the missing numbers in these patterns. All right, so look what we've got here. We have a 1, 3, 9, 27. Okay, now, normally our patterns add and subtract, boys and girls, but look what's happening here. If you think really hard, from 1 to 3, you could do +2, but look what's happening. Something else, I think something more obvious is happening. It's actually going to be times 3, right? What is 3 times 3? Yep, it's 9. What is 9 times 3? That's right, it's 27. So what's happening each time, boys and girls, on this one is we're going to multiply times 3. So for this one, I'm going to come up here and I want to do 27 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So now I have 81. Now we're going to do times 3 to 81. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 8 is 24. 243. Okay, we're going to do times 3 again. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry your 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Wow, this is a huge one, isn't it, boys and girls? All right, then I need more space. So I'm going to come up to here. 729 times 3. 3 times 9 is 7. Plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. And 3 times 7 is 21. 2,187. All right, it looks like the next one may just be an addition subtraction. Let me write it down and we'll play with it. These are just like mystery solving puzzles where you just get to use all the things you know with numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, so let's see. What happened from 128 to 120? It's going down, so that's going to be -8. Right? What happened from 120 to 122? That's growing, so it looks like +2. Right? So 122 to 114, is that -8 again? I believe it is. All right, 114 to 116. Thanks, Stephen. I can hear you, feel you chuckling. Ah, Mom, you're crazy. 114 to 116 is +2. So there's your pattern. -8 plus 2, -8 plus 2. I'm going to let you finish that one on your own, kiddos. You got this. All right, let's go to the magic box. I love the magic box. I love the magic box. Let's check this out. All right, so we have 12, 6, and 3. So let's see. This went down by 6 and then down by 3. How else would that work? What if this is divide by 2? 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. You think that might work? Well, let's check this way. 10 divided by 2 is 5. I think that's what's happening this way, divided by 2. So I'm going to put us a little message up at the top. Okay, so what's happening this way? 12 to 16, that looks like they went +4. There's no other place for us to check it except let's just put a 4 here. 6 plus 4 is 10. I think that's what's happening, right? And 3, that doesn't make sense on this last one though, does it? Thinking. All right, let's put something, let's see what we do here. 20 divided by 2 is 10, so that makes sense. 10 divided by 2 is 5, that makes sense. Everything makes sense but this last corner. Because if we go plus 4, 3 plus 4, that would be 7. So that does not make sense. I wonder if this is a typo. We've had them before. All right, they say to put a plus 4 here, and that makes sense this way, but it doesn't equate that way. Let's just go with it, and I'll see if I can figure out why that one is a boo-boo there. Because everything else makes sense except that one. Miss Francis will work on that, and we'll look at that when we do our time together in just a little bit, okay? Do you see what it is, Stephen? Or it looks like a typo to me. I just think that sometimes people that make pages make mistakes, boys and girls. I don't see what it is, though. I'll figure it out. Okay. All right, let's go to number 6, which should be a quick review. If you have negative 21 plus negative 74, your number gets to be negative. You just get to add them up. 4 and 1 is 5, and 7 and 2 is 9. So you have negative 95. All right, I'm going to let you do this one yourself and this one yourself. I will do the negative 60 plus 17. So visualize yourself on a number line. If you're at negative 60, but you're going to take 17 steps the other way, you will still be on a negative number, but you just have to subtract 60 minus 17. So this will be 3, and this will be 4, so you would end up at negative 43. All right, and let's do the big, long, fun one. Do you remember doing these last week together? I think I put some on your reviews. Let's color code. Makes it easier for me. Right, I'm going to circle that should have been a negative. Ignore me. All right, so I'm going to circle all my negative numbers first. Negative 7, negative 9, negative 1. All right, so all my negative numbers are circled. So negative 3 plus negative 7 is negative 10, plus negative 9 is negative 19, plus negative 1 is negative 20. Okay, now I'm going to I'm going to box my positive numbers. 2, 4, and 4. All right, I'm going to do my doubles. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. All right, so if we have negative 20 plus 10, we will end up with negative 10. All right, so do those two for me, and do this, and do all of side B for a great practice. And then if you have time, do it before we Zoom at 12:30 so we can go over things together, because you have a quiz tomorrow in math. All right, love you. See you in a bit. Bye.